everybody, this is Makeup by Mackenzie, and I am Mackenzie. Obviously, Mother's Day is coming up this Sunday, so I thought it would be really fun to do the full face using my mother's makeup challenge. I've seen Nikki tutorials do this. I'm sure other YouTubers have done it. I think it's a really fun challenge because sometimes our mothers are the people who kind of introduce us to makeup, or the people we go to for makeup advice. My mother is definitely somebody that I went to for makeup advice when I first started using makeup back in high school. And now it's kind of the other way around, where I give her a lot of makeup advice. I consider my mom to be very fashionable, and even though she doesn't do super adventurous things with her makeup, I always feel like it flatters her. It suits her very well. She knows what works for her skin, she knows what works for her face, and she kind of has the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. My mom has these kind of like bluey, grayish hazel eyes that almost transform based on what she wears. Like if she wears a purple shirt, her eyes look purple. If she wears a blue shirt, her eyes look blue. And, you know, it's one of those things where they kind of transform on a day-to-day basis, which I think is a really cool quality to have in your eyes, especially if you are doing kind of fun makeup. She works for the government, so she has to keep her makeup rather subdued. But I think she does it in a way that's very flattering for her. My mom is somebody who was very supportive of my YouTube channel. She's one of the first people I told about it. It's been a rough year for me, and my YouTube channel is something that makes me really happy. Not only does it keep me busy throughout the day, but it's something that I've really been loving, and it makes me very, very happy. And so the fact that my mother and my father are both very supportive of it, that means a lot to me. So I'm very excited to kind of celebrate my mom today through her makeup. She doesn't know I'm doing this, so she will find out, I guess. So without any further ado, let's play with my mom's makeup, shall we? Alright, so I went into my mother's room and I pulled out all of the makeup that I could find and I put it in this bag. If there was anything that was unopened, I left it because that's hers to open, not mine. But all of this is stuff that was opened that she has used, so I think that's fair game. And I'm pretty excited to get started with this. So let's see. Let's start with primer. So let's see if my mom has anything for primer. I'm pretty sure I saw one in here. Alright, so the primer I have found is the NYX Studio Perfect Photo Loving Primer. I have actually not tried this primer. It says that it softens fine lines and pores. So I'm excited to try this, and according to the ingredients, it is a silicone-based primer, and it looks like it's clear, which is interesting because the other primers that I have tried are white. This is the only one that I've never tried this one, so I'm excited to try this. Now let's look and see if she has any eyeshadow primers, and I'm pretty sure I saw one. Okay, so I did find two things that could be considered eyeshadow primer. This one is an actual eyeshadow primer. This is the Milani eyeshadow primer, and I have not tried this one either, but I've heard very good things about it. And then this is the NYX eyeshadow base in the shade 3. So it's a nude shade, like that. And I have tried the white eyeshadow base, and that one creases a lot. I have also tried the black eyeshadow base, and that one actually works really well. So I'm not really a huge fan of eyeshadow bases for like every day. So I think I'm going to try the Milani eyeshadow primer. So let's go ahead and apply those. Alright, so the NYX Professional Makeup Studio Perfect Photo Loving Primer. Get some of this out there. Alright, oh yeah, so that's definitely silicone based. I have tried the NYX Angel Veil Primer, and that one is really nice. It works very, very well. This one seems to have a little bit more slip to it, but it does have kind of a blurring effect, I think. It feels really nice. It definitely feels silicone-y, and I might have grabbed a little bit too much. But I'm trying to spread it out as best as I can. Now I'm going to use a little bit of the Milani eyeshadow primer. This is in the shade 1 Nude. So I don't know if they have more than one shade. It definitely has a tint to it. It has an oily texture to it, which is interesting. It feels very silicone-y and oily, but it doesn't look oily. It looks pretty matte. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look oily. It looks very matte. And I'll have to give that a minute to dry down before I put any eyeshadow on. Let's see what we have for foundation. We have quite a few options for foundation. We have two of the CoverGirl True Blend foundations, and they're in the same color. So they're in the shade M3 Golden Beige. So this one looks like it's pretty, both of them look like it might be a little too dark for me. My mom likes to appear a little bit tanner. So then we have the L'Oreal True Match Powder Foundation. So it's a powder. And then we have the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Foundation, which has SPF 20 in it. And I actually haven't tried this. This is in the shade W12 Warm Porcelain Light Ivory. So I'm going to go with the True Match Lumi Foundation, which I haven't tried before. So we're trying a lot of things that I haven't tried before. She also has the Yada Silky Fit Concealer BB, which I actually gave this to her. I'm not going to use that though because I feel like that's cheating since this is one that I use all the time. So I'm going to go with the L'Oreal one. Whoa, okay, so that's really light. We'll see how it blends out. Definitely has a yellow undertone to it, I think. Actually, I think that's a pretty good match. This foundation is definitely medium coverage because I can still see like my skin's tone and kind of texture through it. And it does have kind of a nice almost satin finish to it. And it has a scent. It smells like soap, which actually I really like. Alright, now let's look for some concealer. Alrighty, so it looks like we have one concealer, which is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. This is in the shade Neutralizer. And this is actually one of those products that my mom introduced me to back when I was in high school. I used this for a really long time because of her. And then I started watching YouTube videos and I saw Tati review this and she was like, oh, this is one of the best concealers ever. And I was like, ha, I already use it. So it was very exciting for me, and this is one of the ones that my mom kind of turned me on to. So I'm going to use this today as my concealer. Alright, let's blend that in. I do really love this concealer. I used to use the Neutralizer one, that's this one, and then I started using one that went with my skin tone a little bit more. But this one definitely is meant to help get rid of your dark circles and kind of brighten up your under eye. Okay, so my under eyes are definitely nice and bright now. Check that out. Okay, so now I'm just going to put it in some places that I just want to highlight and give a little bit more coverage. So we've got our face with foundation and concealer, and now I didn't see a setting powder. The only powder for your face that I saw is this foundation powder. So I'm going to use that as a setting powder. So this is a little bit darker than the foundation. It's a lot darker actually. You could almost use this as a bronzer. I'm not entirely sure how she uses this. She might use it the way I used it, kind of as a setting powder. But it certainly makes me look darker than I am. And it might be a little bit hard to see on camera, but it does not match my neck. You can kind of see a little bit that here is darker than here. Yeah, so my face definitely does not match the rest of my body anymore. You know, it doesn't look bad. I don't look bad with a little bit tanner skin. It just does not match my skin tone let's see what we have for brows. Alrighty, so my mom has a few different brow pencils. She's got the CoverGirl Brow and Eye Makers pencil, and this is in the shade Soft Brown. Looks like she's got two in this shade Soft Brown. Then she's got the Revlon Brow Fantasy in the shade Dark Blonde, and it's a dual-ended, so the first end is the pencil, which looks like she uses quite a bit, and then the other side is a brow gel. Looks like it has a slight tint to it. And then the last thing she has is the TreStique pencil. Mini brow pencil in the shade Espresso. Alright, so let's swatch some of these. So let's swatch this first, and I'll try and figure out which one might be the best for me. I go pretty dark with my brows. That might not be a bad option. So I'm gonna go with this darkest one, which is the TreStique mini brow pencil. And I don't usually do brow pencils. I have done brow pencils in the past, but usually I like powders or gels. So let's see how this goes. My mom has thinner eyebrows than I do. So she uses these pencils to kind of draw them in a little more, where I would just use it to kind of fill in. Whoa, that's a little much. And that's kind of why I don't fill in my eyebrows much, because, especially not with pencils, because my eyebrows really don't need much filling in, you know? Alrighty, so there's the brows. So now let's move on to eyeshadow. I will say, my face doesn't feel dry. Like, it still feels like I haven't set my face. Alright, we'll just have to roll with it. Okay, let's do some eyeshadow. Alright, my mom has a lot of options for eyeshadow. So the first one is the Revlon Custom Eyes eyeshadow palette in the shade Sweet Innocence, which looks like this is a neutral matte palette, which makes me very happy to see, because I will probably be using some of these shades. I probably use this middle shade here as like a blending shade. Then, no surprise, my mom's favorite color is purple, so she has a purple eyeshadow quad here. This is the Maybelline New York in the shade Velvet Crush. Then I have a broken one from Almay, which is the Almay Intense Eye Color Evening Smoky. It's got like a bluish teal shade. And then we have a blue silver one, which is in the shade, it's from Revlon in the shade Passionate. And we have some eyeshadow singles. This one is actually, I gave her from one of my Ipsy bags. This is the Lisa Frank in the shade Stargazing, and it's a gold eyeshadow. And then we have some dark browns here. This is a broken one from Milani. This is in Bella Taupe. Probably won't be using that one. This doesn't have a name or anything anywhere, but it's a dark brown shadow. And then this one is the Maybelline Color Tattoo in the shade Vintage Plum. So it's a purple. Let's see, what should I use? I think I want to do something purple since she really likes purple. So I'm going to take this middle shade here from the Revlon Custom Eyes palette, and I'm going to use that as my blending shade. So I'm going to take that on a fluffy brush, and that's going to go from my crease to my brow bone. The next thing I'm going to do is take this shade right here from the Maybelline Velvet Crush palette, and that's going to go in my crease. The only thing about this palette is that none of these are matte. It really helped. This one is more of a like satin finish, so it's a little bit better for going in the crease. Okay, so we have that down. I'm going to then go ahead and blend out some of those edges. Okie dokie. So the next thing I'm going to do, now that I have that, I'm going to take a slightly smaller fluffy brush, and I'm just going to deepen up the outer crease with that same color. Just deepen that up a little bit more. Now I'm going to take this darkest shade here, and I'm going to pack that onto the outer third of the lid. Now I'm just going to blend that into the crease a little bit more. So now I'm going to take this light purple shade there on my finger, and I'm just going to pat that onto the inner 2/3 of the lid. I'm going to take a clean fluffy brush and just kind of go over those edges one more time. These actually blend out really easily, which is nice. I think I'm going to risk it, and I'm going to take that darkest shade and I'm going to smudge it just on the outer portion of the lower lash line. I'm taking a very, very small brush. Now I'm going to take an angled brush and I'm going to dip into that Almay palette. I'm going to take that middle shade right there. I'm going to use that as my eyeliner. She has pencil eyeliners, but I don't want to use those because that's kind of how pink eye happens. I don't want her or me to get pink eye, so I'm not going to use any of her eyeliners. Alright, and I'm just going to run that along my lash line. Okie dokie, there we go. We've got a nice purple smoky eye going on. So now I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take this white shade that's in here and I'm going to use that to highlight my inner corner. One eyeliner that my mom has that I also have is the Rimmel Scandeleyes waterproof eyeliner in the shade Nude, which I would love to run right under my, along my waterline. So I'm going to grab my pencil and I am going to do that. Okay, so I've got that done, so I'm going to be right back. I'm going to do my mascara off camera. I'm not going to use any of my mom's mascara for the same reason I wasn't going to use any of her eyeliners, because I don't want us to share germs that are going to give us infections like pink eye. Sharing mascara, sharing eyeliners, usually a bad idea because they're going to give you pink eye, even between family members. So I'm not going to use any of her mascaras, so I'm going to do that off camera and I will be right back. Alright, I am back. So let me see what my mom has for blushes or bronzers or something like that. So it looks like she only has one blush, which is fine. You really only need one blush. And this is the Maybelline Fit Me blush in the shade Light Rose. So I'm just going to take my blush brush and I'll go right in there. Yeah, this is a nice shade. It's very natural looking. It looks matte, so it doesn't have any sort of sheen to it. That's a good choice of blush. I like that one. I could only find one lipstick, and it's a Maybelline lipstick. It's in the shade Born With It, and it is a very natural pinky shade. So let's see how this looks. Alright, so there is the finished lips. So this is a very nice color, and I put foundation on over my lips, so it makes it certainly look a lot lighter than it would if you applied it without the foundation over the top of your lips. So I imagine it would look a little bit more natural if I had my natural lip shade shining through underneath it. Alright, so this is the finished look. I really do like the way that it turned out. I like the purple eyeshadow. I have some feelings about the foundation. It's certainly not set in the way that I would like it to be set. I'll have to ask my mom, like, does she set her face or does she not set her face? And if she does, what does she use? It's definitely not set in the way that I would normally set my face. I tend to get a lot of creases under my eyes and on my forehead, and so I need my foundation to be pretty set. It does seem like it's starting to break up around my nose. The rest of it, I really like her choices in blush, and I like the lipstick. It definitely doesn't go with this eye makeup, but it's a pretty color and it's very natural. So if she does something that's a little bit more natural for eyes, which on a regular basis she goes very natural with her eye makeup, this is a good shade for kind of a natural everyday lip color. So tell me a little bit more about your mom in the comments. Let me know like what kind of makeup she likes to use, what kind of makeup tips has she given you in the past. Let me know how much you love your mom. Let the comment section just be like a celebration of our mothers and their makeup, or maybe not their makeup if they choose not to wear it. If any of you do this challenge where you do your face using your mother's makeup, I'd love to hear about it, how you experienced it, or you can send me your pictures on social media. Speaking of my social media, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at MUBYMackenzie. Also, if you like this video, please give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future. And also, if you like my channel, if you like my content, please consider donating to my GoFundMe campaign, which I will have linked for you down below. I'm using that money to buy new camera and lighting equipment so that I can make this channel the best that it can possibly be for you guys. I will also have all of the products that I used on my face today linked down below as well. Alright everybody, that's all I have for today. Happy Mother's Day, have a great weekend celebrating your mom, and I will see you in the next one. Remember, makeup has no rules, they're more like guidelines, so you do you, boo-boo. Alright, see you next time everyone. She's been very supportive. That's my ringtone. Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. My mom just texted me telling me that I needed to vacuum today. So I guess I'll have to do that after this sometime today. What do we have for eyeshadow in here?